episode 5 of the Role Players. We got Mr. Dylan Walton and Reese Britt back for another appearance. And we have a very special episode this go around. But Reese, I want you to go ahead and let's go ahead and get it out of the way because we didn't really have it on our notes. But I figure
toss my lower third up.
Yeah, toss
my I don't know if they can do that.
Oh no, they can do that. Come on, let's see it.
Toss my lower third up.
Reese Britt,
because this will be a perfect explanation.
There it is. There it is.
So I just want to say first and foremost, I want to get it out of the way.
Your soliloquy. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So that was my bad. I think was I using, a sane head when thinking about that? Probably not. I mean, Alabama's a good football team. Alabama's a really good football team. But, we had them for a half, I'm not going to lie.
One half.
We had them for a half. But that's not football, and I understand that. We understand that as a group. And so, I think I think you have to you have to bundle that up and move on to the next week. They got a great win the next week against Kentucky. I don't think it's going to bother them too much through the rest of the season. But do I stand by what I said about Nick Saban? Yeah, I do.
Wow, just keep digging yourself a hole there, Slick.
Yep.
All right. Well, outside of your team getting obliterated. And,
okay. Are you serious? Okay. No. Move on.
Okay. Outside of that, we're going good. Everything's good between the two
here. A lot of schoolwork. I mean, I know we talked about that, but it's just, I mean, we're just kind of keeping on. Thanksgiving in 2 weeks, so that'll be gobble, man.
Yeah, basketball every day.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm chilling. Life's good right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Life is good, and you know what else is good? College football is good. As we had a wild weekend.
So good
of college football. Let's get into it. Bama gets a big win over LSU, 42-28. Roll Tide. Man, what you want to talk about an absolute shootout?
Yeah,
that game was until Jaden Daniels got hurt. I mean, it was just firework after firework after firework after firework.
and I thought Alabama's defense was a little better than what they showed in this past game. I know their defensive backfield is. You're not gonna look at them and not see a 5-star back there. And I know stars don't. I know stars don't really matter once you get on campus, but it's still a telltale sign. That's what I'm saying. It's still a telltale sign of how good your defense can project out to be. So, but that's maybe more of a compliment to how good LSU is on offense with Malik Neighbors, with Brian. Who is it? Brian? That's not Brian Robinson. Their other wide receiver. I can picture him. But then of course Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's a Heisman candidate. He was a Heisman candidate up to this point, but I think he still should be with the game he played, but that's beside the point. So it was an interesting game to watch, but it almost got past my bedtime when that game ended, man.
Yeah, I was getting a little late, but God Almighty, I kept wanting to watch it. I hated to see that Jaden Daniels got hurt because he was balling out. I mean, should it have been a penalty? Yes.
Yeah.
Was it blatant? Like in terms of was it dirty? I don't think so, but according to the rules in which referees have called games, it should have 100% been a roughing the passer. It stunk to see him get hurt and have to leave the game. I know his mom was in the tent with him, so that's obviously probably not a great sign if mom has to go in the tent with you. But Jalen Milroe, boy oh boy, he silenced a lot of critics. And hey, they finally just said, hey, you're a really good athlete. We're gonna let you run the ball.
Yeah.
And he does that really well. He throws the ball really well, but he's also a great runner.
I've watched that kid get better and better as each week has passed. When he first started against Texas A&M last year, when Bryce Young was out, so they played a team. They played Texas A&M, and then they played Tennessee the week after that. And I watched him play Texas A&M, and he completed 7 passes. He had a really good run. He ran the ball well. Nobody's saying he can't run, but he looked horrible back there in the pocket. He didn't look comfortable. But now, we saw that in the first couple games. He actually got benched against USF early in the year. They ended up winning that game, but comes back, and you've just seen the progression of a Nick Saban coached quarterback. Nick Saban doesn't need a good quarterback to win national championships. We've seen that in the past, whether it's A.J. McCarron, whether it's Jake Coker. He doesn't need good quarterbacks to win national championships, and
I would say good, maybe not great. He doesn't need a great one. He needs a good one.
Dude, Jay Coker,
he can
dude,
work
that
with
guy.
a good one.
Jay Coker could put the ball where it needed to be in the right moment.
Yeah, but I hope every SEC quarterback can do that, right?
Well, Vanderbilt's can't.
Well, that's a good point, but Vanderbilt's hardly SEC.
Yeah.
So
In baseball, we are.
I was just
And
saying
women's
baseball.
bowling. And women's bowling. We dominate anybody at women's
That's
bowling.
true.
You Vandy?
dude,
Yeah.
don't get him started because it's just irrelevant.
What's up with y'all, bro?
Dude, it's Tennessee, buddy.
I know.
It's in the blood, bro.
Yeah. Speaking of in the blood, Washington USC, they also had a shootout. And,
I watched a piece
you
of
know
that.
what those two quarterbacks got in their blood? They got some dog in
Dog.
their blood.
Dog.
And Washington came out on top, 52-42. Michael Penix Jr. Getting the edge over Caleb Williams. We saw a little clip of Caleb Williams getting emotional with his family, and a lot of people were kind of criticizing that and maybe talking about that. To me, I'm like, man, the fact that he's still emotional after he knows for a fact
He's
that
going number one.
that he's going number one. That team has no reason to play for them outside of pride and his teammates, and he's still competing at a high level. I know he criticized Caleb Williams for some of the stuff he's done, and rightfully so, but it's nice to see that he's still got emotion. In that loss. And I mean, again, we talked about it earlier in the show. USC's defense is trash, and they fired their D coordinator because of it.
Alex Grinch, he's
Gone.
on the job market.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need to coach defense ever again because his defense is terrible.
It's interesting to think about that because is it that he can't coach defense, or is it have they not recruited the right defensive
they got
players?
Decent pieces. They got decent.
I don't know.
You're USC. Yeah, you got decent
that
pieces.
doesn't. No,
Maybe
maybe
defensive linemen, because defensive linemen are not
They control the game. They can
in the same caliber in the Pac-12 as they are in the SEC,
Right.
or maybe even the Big Ten, where we see Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, even got
big
even
boys.
Texas, where they put out consistent first, second round picks at defensive linemen. Pac-12 is kind of you'll have an edge
Secondary.
rusher,
Yeah.
maybe a cornerback,
Linebacker.
but you won't have like a just absolute units of dudes,
Right.
But
at defensive
you got
line.
good solid pieces though.
That's what I'm saying.
But you have enough there that you're not giving up
Garbage. You're like
40 points a
That's what I'm
game.
saying.
I don't know. I mean,
And your quarterback is
I'd like to go through their past 5 recruiting cycles to see how many blue chip, which is ESPN top 300 blue chip defensive recruits they've gotten, because obviously they can play offense, dude. I mean, they scored 42 points on a Washington defense that's honestly pretty
Not bad.
good. It's
Yeah.
not bad, but yeah, I think USC, dude, they've got the offense. You can obviously see it, but dude, if you can't stop anybody, it's defense wins championships, and I want to harp on that because that's the truth. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, and Michael Penix Jr. probably put himself at the forefront of the Heisman candidacy, and then Clemson beats Notre Dame at home, and Clemson goes to 5-4. It's Dabo Swinney had a little story in the news. A fan called in, said he's not worth his pay and whatnot, and well, what does he do? He goes and beats Notre Dame. Granted, it's at home. Clemson is a different animal at home, but still, I mean, that's a big win for Clemson. Getting 5-4, they'll get to a bowl game. It won't be nearly the prestigious bowl games that we're used to seeing them play in, or even a national championship, but they're on the right track, I think, and it's going to be interesting. Will Dabo finally go into the transfer portal and say, hey guys, this is what we have to do to win now? He may not like it, but guess what? Nick Saban didn't like it either.
Yeah,
but he changed.
And who's not gonna like it? Who's not gonna like it even more is the fans. The fans are not. So I should phrase it this way: the fans are gonna turn on Dabo quicker than you can snap your fingers if he doesn't go into the transfer portal this season.
I was just say. I would imagine they want him to.
Exactly.
If it's going to result in wins.
Yes, I should have phrased that a different way, or the way I just did. But I think Dabo. I think Dabo will eventually. He will this year, because it's. That's the only way you're going to win in today's college football, because everybody's doing it around you. You're not going to recruit up to the level anymore. You're not going to recruit up to the level Georgia is. You're not going to do that with Ohio State, nor Alabama, nor Michigan. So you're going to have to find playmakers in other ways, and the only way you're going to do that is the transfer portal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I mean, taking a look at some of the games that we've got coming up, Ole Miss takes on Georgia. Michigan takes on number 10 Penn State. Washington takes on number 18 Utah. I mean, Dylan, taking a look at these three games, I mean, I know who I want to watch this weekend, and that's that Ole Miss and Georgia game.
Hello.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some high stakes in that game. You got some very high stakes in that
And
game.
then, I'm not the big college football guy, but I did notice this weekend, I don't know if I got my notebook, but I know it's like, six undefeated teams and 5 with like 1 loss, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, 5.
Yeah, so, I
Yeah.
mean, if we can throw up our top 10 graphic, I know we have that as well, brought to us by Trey Whiteowl and Paige Hearn, who is directing this.
Let's go Trey and Paige.
They have Trey and Paige, and then a shout out to Isabella. She
Shout out,
directed
yeah.
Crunch Time, did a heck of a job there. So we got the whole squad.
Very good job.
Whole squad
Yeah.
working on this show. A lot of people have to work and make this happen, including Doc V, Steve Sawyer, David Ellison.
Yep.
A lot of people make the show run. But looking at the top 10 graphic, I mean, you're taking a look at
Yeah,
Ohio,
5 teams.
Ohio State,
Yeah.
Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington are all undefeated. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10
Got 1 loss.
have 1 loss.
Yeah.
So
Could we have not gotten a top 13 graphic,
Nope.
or was that no?
Don't nobody care about y'all.
nobody cares
dude.
about anything outside the top 10.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is actually an interesting topic. We'll hit this quickly. I mean, you take a look at we had the second round of the playoffs rankings come out. Bama gets a win over a ranked team. Georgia gets a win over a ranked team.
Yep.
Ohio State doesn't. They do get the win, but they struggle against an unranked Rutgers. But Bama and Georgia don't move. Neither does Ohio State. And a lot of fans are looking at the committee and they're going, okay, how are you going to rank
these teams, yeah.
rank these teams this way when clearly, hey, new week, they get better wins? I mean, I'm not saying you hold it against Ohio State for winning a game because that's all that matters, but I think winning over a ranked LSU or a ranked Missouri team outweighs, at least as of this moment, a win against an unranked Rutgers team.
No, it does. The entire moment, the whole movie.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. But I think what the committee's putting a lot of stock into is the win against Penn State.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, that was a good
Too
win.
much stock. Too much stock. Because Penn State's a good ball club, but like they are so one-dimensional on offense, it's not even funny. And that's a testament to Ohio State's defense because they are an elite defense. They're as close to last year's Georgia's defense as we're probably ever going to get in college football.
They
again.
are very solid on defense.
They're legit. But when you have a Penn State team that is also very good on defense, but they're so one-dimensional on offense, the only thing that they can do is run the ball. And Ohio State's strength is their defensive front. It's a recipe for a win, and frankly, they struggled with Penn State a little bit towards the beginning of that game. So I think, dude, I mean, at this point, until Georgia loses, you have to put Georgia at 1. I don't know. I know their strength of schedule is bad, but they've looked like the best team in the country, especially with the win against Missouri, a very good, mind you, Missouri team last week.
Now, I think this is an interesting game, and we'll hit this real quick before we move on to the NFL, but I think the entire SEC is rooting against Lane Kiffin and the Rebs this week.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, listen, Lane Kiffin wants the win, but the SEC is looking at Georgia as basically not their last hope, but their best hope, because to get Alabama in there with 1 loss, I mean, yes, if they win the SEC championship against Georgia, I think the
They're
odds
gonna
are
get in.
pretty
Yeah.
good they get in, but
Alabama Invitational.
You're not keeping a 1-loss SEC champion out of the
Yeah.
playoffs
No.
just based off of merit.
But if you have an
That point.
undefeated SEC team, it takes all the
Yeah.
takes everything out of the equation. But
Yeah.
Ole Miss, I mean, hey, listen, their offense is pretty good.
Pretty good. Defense is a little suspect, but not everybody's cheering for Georgia in this.
I know you're not.
Tennessee's going for Ole Miss, and I'll tell you why. Ole Miss beats Georgia. That sets up and Tennessee handles their business against Missouri. That sets up a win and in for the SEC championship against Georgia week. What would that be? Not this weekend, but next weekend for Tennessee. So
No, yeah, it's
that's something to think about. You know, I mean, Tennessee, a 2-loss Tennessee team that wins the SEC championship, they're not going to get in. But a 1-loss Georgia team that wins the SEC championship, they'll get in. A 1-loss Alabama team, SEC champion, they'll get in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Next, let's move on to our NFL slates as we get a couple notes here. The Chiefs get the win in Germany over the Dolphins, 21-14. The Vikings get the win over the Falcons with Josh Dobbs coming out of nowhere. Gets traded at the deadline. Gets 4 days of practice with the Vikings. Not even 4 full days of practice,
not
mind
4.
you. A couple of walkthroughs that count as a practice. and they're now 5-4, and in the hunt of the NFC wild card.
And Jettas is supposed to be coming back.
Yeah, he got activated. Now he did say, I actually just got a fantasy update. He's not going to play until he's healthy.
Oh, so you were the guy that drafted Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
There's one in every league.
I had the number one pick. I had to.
You got the number one?
Yep.
You should have taken Patrick Mahomes, dude. What are you doing?
I have Patrick Mahomes. I got him in the second round.
Ooh.
Yeah, your league, you're playing with a bunch of bums, dude.
Well, I'm trying to trade Patrick Mahomes because he's been playing like a bum the past few weeks.
It's the offense.
Well, he is the main part of the offense,
No,
is he not?
It's the like the nuts and the bolts. You know, he's the
Travis
screwdriver.
Travis Kelce needs to break up with Taylor Swift.
Facts.
I'll say it right here. As much as that's gonna, I guess, make people mad.
You're public enemy number one now.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I've been public enemy.
Swifty hater.
No, I love Taylor Swift.
I am a Swifty.
I love Taylor
No,
Swift.
he did.
I'll put that.
He did specify that he does.
I do like
enjoy
Taylor Swift's music, but I think it's hurting Travis Kelce's production on the field. I don't think he's playing as well with all of the outside media noise that's going on because of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, because I got him on fantasy. He had me 4 points last weekend.
Yeah, it was rough. I was sitting there watching the game going, come on, Patty, let's throw another touchdown. They'll look really good the first drive, and then
it's scripted.
Because it's scripted, and then nothing for the rest
once you
got
to play football, it's over with.
Oh, man. But moving on, the Eagles get a massive win at home over inter-division rival the Cowboys, despite a late rally by the boys, 28-23. Tonight, the NFL kicks off its next week with a barn burner.
Let's go.
Between the Bears and the Panthers. Boy, no fantasy implications, thank God, in this game.
Well, I got Chuba Hubbard and Dante.
You got Chuba Hubbard? I ain't heard his name in a minute.
Watch the game tonight. Just wait.
Well, I'm going to watch, but probably not very interested.
Yeah.
Second Frankfurt game kicks off Sunday morning with the Pats and the Colts. I'll be up to watch that one. I'm always interested to see. Man, it's so cool hearing them sing the German population sing "Country Road."
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah,
like I don't care if you're a football fan or not. That's just really cool.
It is cool.
It's one of those kumbaya moments where the world comes together and we're like, all right, maybe we have a chance to get together and live in harmony.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, we're talking about how we hate each other. So
but
for those 3 minutes, it's like, man, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday Night Football has another barn burner with the Jets and the Raiders.
I don't know about that one.
I had to watch
Jets defense.
I had to watch
Aiden McConnell.
Yeah, I had to watch.
Yeah, right.
He's good.
He's okay. Hopefully Devontae Adams can get back going. But I had to watch Breece Hall. I needed 20 points to win this past week. He got me 10, and he had 2 really big plays get called back because of holding. And then, of course, every time they got even remotely close to the end zone, they would get sacked or a penalty, and they'd have to kick a field goal. So I'm pretty mad at the Jets' offense right now.
Everybody blames Zach Wilson.
Well, their offensive line is trash.
That's my point.
Yeah,
can we lay off Zach Wilson for a second and look at what he has up front protecting him?
Whole reason Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Yep. His offensive line is terrible, and that's part of the reason. Now, granted, there are times in which Zach Wilson
terrible.
Will miss a layup of a throw, but granted,
everybody. I mean, what quarterback doesn't?
I saw Patty Mahomes do it a couple times in this journey.
And he's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yep. So it's definitely frustrating to watch, but it is what it is. I tell you what, I'm interested. Again, I'm interested. Good grief, to watch that Pats and Colts game in Frankfurt. It'll be the last international game.
You excited to watch the Pats and Colts?
Listen, man,
but not excited to watch the Jets and the Raiders?
No.
What is this?
I'll say more the I'd say I'm more excited for the Raiders outside of my fantasy in Breece Hall because the Raiders do get the big win. Granted, it was against the Giants with an interim coach, but I do like the fact that we could potentially.
You got to give them credit with the interim coach.
That's what I'm saying. It's cool to see the Raiders get the win with the interim coach.
But you want to talk about a team that is just horrible.
Yeah, it's the Giants.
And it's the New York Giants.
No, you're right.
They have the potential to have the number 1 overall pick. I'll be the first one to say.
Well, they 3
They have 2 wins.
They have 2 wins.
They
They're
got
2-7.
The Cardinals have 1 win. The Panthers have 1 win.
Bears have 3 now.
Yeah.
So honestly, they're right on track. And with Kyler coming back for the Cardinals, they're bound to at least win 2 more.
But the Bears own the Panthers pick, so they have whatever the Panthers have.
Yeah.
So they could potentially have
2 top
5 picks.
Yeah.
Which would be crucial with Justin Fields.
Yeah, probably give him his old buddy Marvin Harrison Jr. and then hopefully an offensive lineman.
seriously.
Nah, you trade that for up and coming. You trade the other one. If you don't get a defensive like a safety or cornerback, trade it for a solidified offensive lineman. Don't draft.
I think you just trade back in the draft. If you want to trade that pick, you just trade back in the draft.
Get 2 offensive linemen.
Get like an early second round pick, and then get like a pick around 11, 12, somewhere in there to get an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
No doubt. So. All right, so we're going to move on to some other sports, a.k.a. the MLB, as the World Series is now over because we were gone for,
2 weeks.
2.5 weeks. Sorry, guys. The Texas Rangers get their first ever World Series victory.
They were so good.
With a win over the Arizona Diamondbacks.
That was dominance right there.
They were so good, dude.
That last pitching performance, though, by the Diamondbacks, starting pitcher, not their relievers, because their relievers came in and they just bombs over Baghdad. Yeah. But their starting pitcher, 7.5 innings where he pitched no hits. He pitched like 2 hits and no runs.
It was like a perfect game or something like that.
Yeah, it was close to a perfect game.
Yeah.
And then their relievers came in and they just saved.
Yeah. What is his name?
Zach Gallen.
Yeah. He pitched a heck of a game.
No, he did.
But they ended up losing.
Pitcher.
So
he got an arsenal too. Like he can throw.
Yeah. But again, Texas Rangers get their first ever World Series win. It's crazy how an organization like that can be that
That's
old
what I said. I didn't know.
And get their first. That shows you how hard it is to win a championship at any level, let alone the pro level.
Yeah.
So, but really cool shout out to them for getting their first win. And, hey, everything's bigger in Texas. You know what they say.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
The NBA is underway, and we're going to get started with a first ever in-season tournament Friday between a lot of games, but the ones we highlighted, Celtics, Nets, Jazz, Grizzlies, and more. We look at Boston, Philly, Milwaukee are off to a really good start in the East, and then in the West, we have Denver, Dallas, and Golden State. And we kind of threw this on the last little bit because I am a LeBron skeptic, and I will not shy away from it. I know you are as well.
I am as well, yeah.
What?
They're off to a rough start, and actually they just got the doors blown off of them
got knocked off
by the Rockets. By Dylan Brooks. I mean, you're
dog.
No.
You lost.
LeBron played well. Dylan Brooks had 5 points.
You still lost to him.
So, wait, how many points did LeBron have?
He had like 18, 20. He shot well.
18 or 20? That's terrible for LeBron.
That's a light day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the other guy's career high.
Yeah, but for LeBron, if he has anything less than 25, I'm like, that's not LeBron standards.
That's interesting, though, that you say that because I like how we hold LeBron James to a higher standard than the average NBA. But he's played so well over an extended period of time that we should hold him to a higher standard.
But my thing is one bad game out of game 4,500 for him. An average game for him is a good game for other people. Like, we can't get that away. He shot well, didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, he went 7 of 13. He went 0 for 2 from 3, but he had 18 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. The assist is the one where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, they can't make shots. He be hitting everybody open. They can't make shots.
Where's Anthony Davis?
He got hurt the other night.
Of course he did.
Dude. He had groin spasms. I don't know
you got to get rid of him. He's the problem.
Don't.
Yes, he
is.
He's
a disaster.
He's the problem, dude. He can't stay healthy, and that's literally been his entire.
Out for too long. Maybe a game or two.
That's the thing. Is his injury will be like a 2-week. It will be like a 2-week, injury that will prolong to be a 2-month injury, and then he's out for that, and you're basically just paying him to sit on the end of the bench and drink water.
When he plays 26 points a game, 13 rebounds.
Which is half the time.
When he plays.
Yeah, which is half the time. And the other half of the time, they lose essentially 80% of the time.
He's an NBA champion.
Yeah.
In the bubble.
No.
That's such an asterisk.
That's
dude.
such an asterisk.
It was harder to win in the bubble.
Nobody. No.
They were the only team that wanted to be there.
Yeah, no one wanted to be there.
That's not their fault.
Lou Williams literally went to a strip club and was like, please suspend me.
So if you won a golf
championship
championship in the bubble and people was like, I really don't count because you won a golf championship in the bubble.
I could see how people would be skeptical about it, but this is a great example. They played the Masters. They always play the Masters in April. Then during COVID, they played it because they missed it in April, so they played it in, I want to say it was November, right?
Ooh.
Well, nobody remembers who won the Masters in November. Everybody remembers who won it the next year, the following year. So that's kind of my point, that I think the only reason we even know who won that one in the bubble is because of LeBron James, and that, you know, a lot of people have an asterisk by that championship.
I respect it. It was hard.
You think playing in the bubble was harder than going to TD Garden or to Madison Square Garden and playing?
For this reason, my wife is not there, my kids not there, no fans are there. It's just me, the coaches, my teammates, the camera crew. That's it. It's regular. It's regular. It's publicized pickup basketball. That's what it is. And
LeBron literally like drug his team to the
that's what
bubble
I'm saying.
and was like, "Hey, we're gonna play. We're gonna try to win because he needs as many titles as he can get his hands on." But outside of that, what has he done with the Lakers?
Nothing with the Lakers. No.
Hey, he made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. They tried to bring Russell Westbrook. That was the dumbest idea on planet Earth. But you know, to each his own. Don't disrespect the king, though. I
don't think we're disrespecting him.
I'm
I just think
a
we're
Kevin
skeptical.
Durant stan.
I said I'm a skeptic.
What are you skeptical for? 21 years of dominance?
Well, I'm skeptical that
outside of the finals, he's dominant.
Yeah.
Outside of the finals that he went to 10 years in a row.
And lost the majority of
How
them.
many finals we been to?
Like, I mean, listen. Dog. You can't compare us to LeBron James.
I'm a mid-major Division I collegiate golfer. Like, I'm not going to the finals.
And I'm not a Division anything college athlete.
No,
but
bro,
I mean,
again, 10 years straight, regardless if you win or lose. Come on now.
I mean, it's an impressive feat, but again, there's no trophy for second.
Oh, but now
there is.
We're talking about co-champions.
We're
talking about co-champions in the ASUN. It's a thing and it's cool and you know.
Well,
everyone participates and gets a trophy.
We even said how we didn't like that.
Yeah.
Which that was silly. How in 2019 how we beat SEMO and we somehow had to share a conference champion with them. Again, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. But you know,
y'all
it is
gotta
what it
get
is.
off
to each
Bron.
their own.
To
each their own.
Y'all gotta get off.
Now,
Bron,
to be fair, looking at LeBron, his stats as of this moment, which are 8 games into a very long season, he's 24.4 points a game, 8 boards a game. But the one that concerns me is 5 assists, which
he's 40.
No. I'm not
actually 40 years old.
I'm like 39.
What I'm saying is, I'm concerned is the fact that he doesn't have the ponies behind him, and
he don't.
The big part of that though is because Anthony Davis is always in the injury ward, and he can't stay on the court because that is the main catalyst. With LeBron, is he has to have Anthony Davis, and he doesn't have him 60% of the time.
Anthony Davis is taking up so much of their cap space that they can't go and get quality guys off the bench.
But he
to put
deserve
in the
it.
rotation.
Let's not act like
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but I'm saying it's just a bad situation that the Lakers have put themselves in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
That they've paid him all this money, and he's played like maybe a full season combined
over 3 years.
Over a 3-year period of time.
What are your thoughts on the in-season tournament? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I don't get it right now, but I know it really starts tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll figure out more as tomorrow go along. I'm just excited for the games. You know, I'm enjoying your Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
you know, they playing.
Go C's.
Well, they lost back-to-back games. I mean, you know, that's fine.
It's the regular season. Games don't matter. God.
Yeah. To a certain extent.
But again, I don't know. I mean, Reese, what do you think before we get out of here? I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Dylan can probably talk a little bit better on this than I can, but dude, the guys, like the players in the league don't even know what's going on.
Yeah,
so it's like, why are we doing this, and why has it not been communicated to the guys about what we're actually doing? Is there even an incentive program behind it, or what's the deal?
I heard they do charity type of thing.
Yeah, that's good.
But what I heard is progressing, in the years moving forward, maybe the team that wins get a certified playoff spot, or you get a certified play-in spot, or you get some type of.
What about a home court, a home court advantage for the playoff?
Yeah, they was maybe you get one round
home. I could see
that. Because my thing, if you're gonna throw an extra game
if you make the
out
playoff,
there, well, you got fine work the kinks and stuff.
All I see is just an absolute muddy fest that's going to happen.
You can turn it to something good. You can turn it. Just like the play-in situation.
So what happens?
The play-in situation's cool. I like that.
That's what I'm saying. You can turn it.
So if they lose, are they just they just don't play for a week, or what's the deal?
No, you just lose. You just don't, because there's only one extra game. The championship game is the only extra game. All the other games are within the regular season. It's just one extra game for the championship game. That's it.
I think if there was like a incentive base behind that.
No, it needs to be
There has to be something
home
behind
court
it.
advantage.
See, I think that's the most reasonable. Is that like the stipulations would be you play in this in season tournament. If you win, you get home court advantage for the playoffs. But you have to make the playoffs first. But if your team's good enough to win an in-season tournament,
you only get that first round. You don't get the whole.
Yeah.
No.
But if your team's good enough to win the in-season tournament, wouldn't they be good enough to
Well, sometimes you get injuries late in the season.
Yeah,
and all
Lakers.
that.
Yeah.
Somebody said give the whatever team that wins their next home game or one of their home games, everybody gets in free.
Yeah.
Do it for
that's
the community.
cool.
Do it for the community.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Think
I
about
like
if
that
Detroit
idea.
won that,
That's what I'm
and people could get in for
You see what I'm
free. That would
saying?
be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. We got to get out of here. Big shout out to David Ellison, Steve Sawyer, Doc V, obviously Trey Whiteout, Paige Hearn, Isabella Christensen for the work that they do, and hopefully we'll be back next week. And peace out.